My first HO train layout in a long time. Part 9, a 2-year review. What I've learned so far. The first 10. 1. HO scale 1/87th is still the most popular scale to model in the US and Canada. 2. The number of model train manufacturers and suppliers of track, locomotives, rolling stock, power supplies, cab controllers, and accessories has dwindled a lot since I was last involved in the hobby, which was from 1956 through the late 1980s. My first electric train set in 1956 was identical to the one I found in this internet photo, although I did have a Marx wind-up set before that. 3. Overall, the number of hobby shops and those specializing in model railroading have also dwindled to just a few. Therefore, obtaining an item to be used on a given day is difficult. Purchasing items from the internet requires planning well ahead of when the item is expected to be needed. 4. Model railroading is a many-faceted hobby. Even in the HO scale niche, individuals determine which aspect of the hobby they will concentrate on at a given time, but there's a lot of fluidity between each aspect over time. They're all great. Detailed scenery, operations, and much more. 5. At first, the prices for the items that are required or desired to be a model railroader today, in 2024, seemed high to me. I worked part-time in hobby shops in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I was familiar with the pricing of model railroading items then. Therefore, I had to do a mind reset about today's prices. I was most active as a model railroader between 1970 and 1989 in both HO and N scale. My mind was stuck on the prices from that period. I picked the year 1975 and found out that what cost $1 then would now cost $5.59. In February 2022, I purchased through Amazon a Walthers Trainline HO Scale 1/87th Flyer Express Fast Freight Train Set, CSX Transportation, for $199.98. Expensive, but $199.98 divided by 5.59 equals $35.78 in 1975 money, and that falls into line with what I remember for a midline quality HO set back then. If you are thinking of model railroading as a hobby, but think that it's too expensive, maybe thinking about the following can clarify your thinking. What would it cost just me to go to a concert? What would it cost just me to go to a movie and have a soda and some popcorn? What would it cost just me to go to an amusement park or a water park for just a day? Is model railroading as a hobby too expensive? Only you can decide how much quality of life and value it adds to your life. 6. Using the principle of KISS, keep it super simple, is invaluable when applied to model railroading. 7. DC, direct current, analog track power is hardly used anymore by the majority of HO model railroaders today to power model locomotives. It has been surpassed by some implementation of DCC, direct cab control, which can even be found in a few simple beginner train sets. DCC allows for the speed control of the locomotive, cab, plus sounds, lights, and more through the rails. The NMRA is the organization that sets the standards for model railroading. The NMRA standards for DCC were adopted in 1993. 8. The idea for powering model trains with batteries on board goes back at least 30 years or more. When a few folks tried using batteries and RC, radio control systems, from inexpensive toy cars that used battery power and had a means of speed control, as well as being able to move in both forward and reverse. Over the years, there were several systems developed to provide model railroading with the ability to not only use battery power, but to also add sounds as well. And then came the pandemic. In 2022, with the supply of computer chips low and worldwide transportation slowed to a crawl, receiving parts and components from overseas became difficult. Many of the commercially available systems, such as BlueRail, Tam Valley Depot, CVP Airwire, Deltang, and the S-Cab system, were not available at the beginning of 2022. Running with battery power is commonly noted as Deadrail, power on board, or battery on board. Either spelling of Deadrail, when used as a search term in Google or YouTube, returns information about using battery power for model railroads in all scales. The low usage of Deadrail was what surprised me the most. Keeping the tracks clean to reliably pick up the power, the special wiring required to power turnout frogs, blocks of wiring to allow more than one train at a time to run, and reverse loops have all been reoccurring issues with model railroading. 9. Having discovered that battery power was at least possible, X-TrackCad, a free track planning CAD program, was learned and used to design possible future layouts. X-TrackCad was used to design the track plan for a prototype portable foam board layout. It was also used to create my first HO layout in a long time. 10. While designing possible future layouts using X-TrackCad, LocoFi was discovered, researched, was available, and then ordered. The DC 9V to 24V supported, noted in the graphic, indicates that it can be used for battery power. Since that graphic was created by LocoFi, the specs have changed and the low voltage is now 7V. The LocoFi system was chosen because it was available at the time this project was started. It has proved to be very reliable, well thought out, very user-friendly. Plus, the LocoFi team is absolutely top-notch in giving assistance and feedback. LocoFi is based on the KISS principle. The app is logical and easy to use, and it installs and sets up easily for Deadrail operation. The steam dashboard is shown. The diesel dashboard is similar but also shows RPM and has a horn button instead of a whistle button. In the following video, the previously downloaded generic Steam 02 files from the LocoFi resources page were copied to the micro SD card, and then the system was breadboarded onto the workbench for testing before installation. By default, the provided sounds are diesel, but if asked, LocoFi will preload other sounds for users before shipping out the system. After entering the drive wheel diameter into the locomotive setup, a video was made to see that there were 4 chuffs for each complete wheel rotation. There were, and it was really cool. Motor speed, and thus the locomotive speed, is directly related to the voltage being applied to the locomotive's electric motor. This fact has huge implications for the selection of the required battery pack voltage to achieve the locomotive's maximum scale speed. A fairly current listing of other Deadrail systems and links to suppliers, as well as how Deadrail works, can be found in the article on the NASG.org website. Important note about LocoFi. LocoFi is designed to run on a pure DC source. A battery pack, as used in Deadrail, is just one pure DC power source. LocoFi can also use a pure DC power source connected to the track. A laptop power supply can provide pure DC, but a DC train set power control does not provide pure DC. The following video demonstrates my 3 locomotives running using LocoFi. Each train is running completely independently with 3 dashboards open on the LocoFi app. The Conrail used 3 eFest IMR 10440 3.7 volt 350 milliamp hour batteries. The CSX used 4 Soshine IFR 10440 3.2 volt 280 milliamp hour batteries. The 280 used 3 Vapsell INR 10440 3.6 volt 320 milliamp hour batteries. Using those batteries, each train will run for about 60 minutes or a bit more. Resizing the browser window, as shown in the screen capture, makes reading my website much easier. I suggest that my website should be checked at least on a monthly basis to see what I've learned, relearned, and where I'm going next on this project. In December of 2023 and during January of 2024, the website was completely revamped and revised to make it easier to navigate and find specific information that might be useful to others. If you have questions to ask or comments to share, my email address is linked at the top of my webpage. I would love to hear from you.